Welcome to the Pathstream Podcast. At Pathstream, our mission is to prepare students of all ages for high-demand digital skills careers. And in this podcast, we talk to real-world professionals who are working in those high-demand jobs right now to learn about how they got started. We also talk to students who have successfully gone through our programs, we learn more about the humans behind Pathstream, and we chat with other leaders in online learning and the future of work to see where this industry is headed. Enjoy the episode. Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the Pathstream Podcast. I'm Anthony. I'm on the learning design team here at Pathstream, and I'm one of your hosts.
Hi, everyone. I am Shade from the marketing team at Pathstream, and I will also be your host today.
And today we are stoked because we have the opportunity to highlight Henger Ydrogo, a Pathstream graduate from our Tableau Data Analytics Certificate, who has experience successfully navigating a pretty significant career transition. Henger, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you guys so much. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, we can't wait. We've heard a little bit of your story, and we're very excited that you're going to get the opportunity to share it with our listeners. So I'm just wondering, first and foremost, can you just take a moment to introduce yourself in your own words and kind of tell us about what you're passionate about?
Absolutely, yes. My name is Henger Ydrogo. I'm originally from Venezuela, born and raised. I moved to the US a few years ago, like 4 years ago. And so I have a background, like professionally speaking, I have a background in engineering. That's my major. I graduated and specialized in oil and gas. So my professional career was very focused on the oil industry. And I worked for the oil industry for about 3 years. And on a personal level, I'm passionate about, just enjoying simple things in life. Going out for a walk, going running, going to the gym, rollerblading is a big passion of mine too. Also, of course, professionally speaking, analytics in the world of analytics has become a passion of mine now.
Yeah, we're a little bit later. We're going to learn more about that transition from going from something in an engineering background to then shifting and transitioning to data analytics. And not only that, but also shifting and transitioning from living in Venezuela to then moving to the United States. And so a lot of times we talk to students who are going through one big transition in their life as far as their career, but we don't always get an opportunity to talk to somebody who's going through multiple transitions and having to navigate that. So really looking forward to hearing more about that in just a little bit. But before we go into that, I'll pass it back to Shade.
Right.
Yeah. One thing we're really curious to know about is your journey to Pathstream. How did you reach the conclusion about data analytics and why Pathstream?
Sure. So data analytics was never new to me because coming from an engineering background, you get to experience a lot of the foundation of data analytics, statistics, mathematics. So it was not a new thing to me. During COVID, when I first moved here, I wasn't able to, look for professional jobs for different reasons. So I did a lot of different stuff that were not non-technical. Worked for restaurants. I ended up working for retail. That's what I did for the last 2 years. And during COVID, my mind changed a lot, and I was wondering, what should I do next for my professional career? Should I? Because I'm an engineer, so I really want to push myself to new boundaries when it comes to my professional career. So I was doing some research, and I definitely wanted to expand my skills and hone some skills that I already have when it comes to analytics. And I had a few options. Here in New York, and Pathstream was one of them. I think that what I liked most about Pathstream, what was very interesting, was the fact that it combined the technical aspects of analytics with the foundational aspects to it too. Because before jumping to work with tools like Tableau or SQL, I really wanted to get a really good grasp of analytics, because even though I'm not new to this world, I really wanted to brush it up a little bit. go through all the foundational aspects to it from the get-go.
Right. So it was like a perfect like introduction, but also like developing the foundation so that you can actually apply for a data analytics job. That's amazing. Yeah.
Because some other options that I saw were very technical, were more like boot camps where you can specialize in using specific tool, but then how are you going to use this tool if you don't know the foundations of analytics? So it was very interesting to me that it was very balanced, the syllabus of Pathstream.
Right. And like, you know, you just said something about like, I think you just said project, like how do you know how to use a tool? You've never actually used it, but like, can you talk a bit more about your exposure? Like, were you exposed to a lot of our tools during our programs, and like, what was that like?
I was, I actually learned a lot about two tools that I had never used in the past, Tableau and SQL. But before jumping into the details of how to handle these tools, I was able to understand on the first module of the program. It was all about business analytics and how can you spot a problem and how can you tackle the problem, and what are the available tools that you can use to solve a problem. So it was very interesting and eye-opening for me to start from scratch. Like, what do you have? Like, what's the problem? What's the issue? What's the project? And then how can you apply the knowledge that you're going to get later on by using these tools?
I really, really like that. I think that is something that I'm sure is inspiring a lot of people right now coming out of COVID too, like realizing that you can transition, but also learn something that you've never learned before through one of our programs, and then actually get that experience. And then a story like yours, where it's like this, you've transitioned fully, you have a career now in that, truly inspiring. Like, I just had to say that. Yeah.
And then on top of that, it was also the fact that they were offering some career counseling too, like coaches that were dedicated to work with you and see, have a look on your resume and your LinkedIn profile and see after you're done with the program, what can you do to, make your profile better so you can be more, interesting for employers.
Yeah, Angie, who is our Tableau instructor, mentioned that you were one of her all-star students, and
my God, yeah, I love Angie. She was the best.
So yeah, she is the best. But so I'm wondering, because you were able to do so well in these courses. Like, what helped you succeed in these courses? Like, what if imagine there are maybe other online students out there who are listening, who are maybe like encountering some obstacles with their courses or struggling a little bit. Like, how were you able to maximize the opportunity that you had in the course, and what advice would you give to them?
I think one of the things that made me really committed was the eagerness to succeed. Like, I really wanted to go back to my professional career, and I saw this as an opportunity for me to, get new skills and be more, as I said before, more interesting for employers. Being able to reconnect with my background, my engineering background, and I saw this program as the perfect opportunity for me to do so. So I would say that as a piece of advice for other people out there, that if you feel like you are stuck, if you feel like you need to change, just do it. Like, there's no second guessing. There's no perfect time. The time is now. So that was my main thing when I decided to go for the program, was I need to commit to it, because it's not only about the money that you pay for the program, because you need to, you have there's a quote that you need to pay, but also you need to commit. You need to spend time, and you need to fully commit to the cause so you can succeed.
Yeah, I think that's it sounds simple, but it can be really difficult for folks. But if you can get to that place internally where you're able to commit 100%, yeah, I think to your point, it can be really, really powerful. I'm also loving what I'm hearing where how you're saying, because I guess when we started this interview, I was thinking of you and I was thinking, well, here's this guy and he has an engineering background and then he had to kind of do something completely different and make this big switch to data analytics while also, navigating, living in a new country. And it sounds to me like you're saying, that you were able actually to take a lot of what you learned from your previous career in engineering and then just put stuff onto it to enhance your data analytics career. So, am I understanding that correctly? Like,
Yes.
did you sort of see it as more of a like unified process?
Yes. As a matter of fact, I the last 2 years in my professional career, I worked as a planning engineer. So a lot of the things that I was experiencing in the business part of the program was really connected to my professional background. Saying like working with spreadsheets like Excel and working with data sets. That's something that I had done in the past. So it was really interesting to be able to go back to it, but in a way where I was really interested in getting new tools and acquiring new skills. So yeah, it was definitely like a combination of many things because I was able to connect my background with the program and with also what I wanted to do in the future.
I think that's great because we hear this all the time from people who are hiring is that they really like love it when candidates can tell that story about like why them, why now, how is their background maybe feed into the goal that they're pursuing in the present moment. And so I love how you were able to do that. And even if, people are out there listening who they don't have an engineering background, like they do have some professional background and there's a way to apply that to, what they're the field that they're currently trying to get a job in. I'm wondering like, what else was that process like for you when you were done with the program itself, the data analytics program, and you were trying to then get a job in data analytics? Like, how did you navigate that sort of like career transition or that career search?
It was very interesting. Also being helped by Angie. She was like she was an amazing coach. And we went through all of the things that she considered was important for us to work on. As I said before, my resume, she was able to spot some things that were not completely on place and some things that she wanted me to work on in terms of verbiage because she wanted to rebrand um, my professional career as combine my engineering background with my retail experience because that's what I've been doing for the past 2 years, and then combine these two things with the program. So it was really interesting and challenging for both of us to kind of explore the options and see what was the best way to sell myself out there as a data analyst. So yeah, it was very helpful to the process.
And I know you kind of already touched on this when it comes to taking that professional risk and like switching careers. Like you had mentioned that the perfect time is now. Like there is no perfect time. You just kind of have to do it. But what else would you say to somebody that was currently considering trying to switch their career, like whether it's things to consider or things that helped you make that switch or things to look out for, whatever you want to add?
Yeah, of course. I don't think it's something that's going to come out of the blue. You need to look within yourself and see what you're capable of doing, see what your limitations are, what your background is, what you like, how do you see yourself in few years. So based on that, you can make better decisions as far as your professional career going forward. So for instance, I wouldn't pick like, I don't know, design or like fashion design, for instance, because that's something that's not um, in my mind something I would do for a professional career. So it depends on also, yeah, a lot of your background and what you want to do in the future.
And okay, so speaking of fashion, can you tell us what it's like to work in the fashion industry?
course, yeah, it's been, I mean, going from working with petroleum, the oil industry, and then switching to the retail, but not only retail, but fashion retail. It was like a big change for me. But changes have always been present in my life. I've been, I mean, um, I've experienced a lot of changes since I decided to move to this country in terms of career, personal matters. So change for me has been consistent in my life. Um, so it's been really, I keep saying interesting, but it's been, it's been a different experience. I've been able um, to explore a side to me that I wasn't necessarily looking into before.
Mm-hmm.
Really eye-opening to see that there's a lot of talent and a lot of skills that I have that I didn't see before. So, because to be like a sales professional for fashion retail, you need to have a lot of talent when it comes to selling. And I didn't see myself before selling anything. But once you are in that situation, you can like, okay, I'm an engineer, but I also have a lot of talent in different areas. So how can I pull it up and make it work in a different industry? So that's basically what I did, and it was it's been amazing.
Yeah, it's funny. My whole family is a bunch of engineers, like my brother, my dad, my cousin, and then and then I just love fashion. So like, it's funny that you're telling me about the differences, but yet the similarities that can be found within two different industries and how you can kind of look within yourself. And what would you say was like something that surprised you moving from the engineering industry into the fashion or retail, I guess?
Yeah, you're exposed to a lot of celebrities, if you will. And this world where a piece of fabric is so important, where in my past it was the oil itself. So that change was like, now before I was like doing charts and dashboards for oil, and now I'm like trying to sell a piece of fabric or a garment. So that change is always kind of funny to me, but as I said before, I was able to adjust to the situation very well, and I had a successful career within the sales department in high fashion retail.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry, Anthony, I know you probably have a question, but like I always think of when I hear like a fashion industry job, I just think of The Devil Wears Prada. I don't know if either of you guys have seen that, but it just comes to mind. And I'm just like, oh, the dream. That's like every girl's, well, my dream anyway. But yeah, really cool.
See a lot of that there.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I was curious, as you were talking, you're kind of like communicating this relationship you have with change, like change itself. And, a lot of people, I think a lot of our students, they can be uncomfortable with change, even though we all know that, it's an inevitable part of life. And I'm just wondering, like, how did you develop a relationship with change or transition in your own life where you felt like you got to a healthy place with it, or a place where you could thrive in that state?
I think in order for us to be able to change, we need to think outside of the box, and we need to be ready to switch things around. I think COVID hit all of us in different ways, and myself personally, because I had just started this new job as a sales professional, and then because of COVID, I was furloughed. So I was in this pause, and it wasn't a great time for me. It was dark times for all of us, I believe. But for me, it was a moment where I had to take a seat and think of my future. This is really what I want to do, or I really want to go back to pursuing something that's more in line with my professional background. So that's when it wasn't an easy decision, and it didn't happen over time, but it was definitely something that I had to think a lot. And that's when I decided to, like, it's about time for me to go back to my professional career, and let's just see what's out there as far as options for me to like enroll in a program. And that's how I found Pathstream. So I think that, as you said, change is a constant in life, and we need to be able to adjust to changes, because otherwise we're not going to thrive. We're not going to succeed.
I couldn't agree more. It just kind of reminds me of this quote my dad said, which is basically what you're saying. It's like the only constant thing in life is change, like kind of thing. And it's true. And I think definitely COVID has taught all of us that change is real, and like there's only so much you can control. So
yeah, I think people are more fearless now when it comes to making decisions for their lives, because they're like, what if something like COVID happens again? Like, what are we going to do? The time is now. We need to do it.
Yeah, you're bringing up really super interesting points that I think are going to be very relevant for, a lot of folks out there who are listening. And just thanks again for your time and sharing your experience. We loved having you on, and we have a little bit of a tradition here on the podcast where we always like to end these interviews with kind of a burst of positivity or optimism, if you will. So just wondering what the nicest thing is that someone's ever done for you.
Oh, I wouldn't say a thing, but I feel that in my personal journey, both personally and professionally, I've been blessed enough to be surrounded by people that have always pushed me to, to get the best of me, and to be the best version of myself that I can be. So I would say that, as I said before, like, my journey hasn't been easy. And I know all of us go through different experiences in life that make us be stronger and wiser in life. But from someone who is an immigrant, and also that has experienced a lot of changes within his professional career and also personal life, I think that we definitely need to take the risk and make a change for our lives. If we feel that we're stuck, if we don't feel happy enough, as I said, the moment is now. We need to take the risk and make those changes happen in our lives in order to be happier and to succeed, no matter what, no matter if it is professionally or personally.
And when you say that, like, I remember when you were like, you said a word like fearless a couple minutes ago, and I just think that like that's what it does take to make that change. And like, even the way you speak about the changes that you went through, there's like this fearless, attitude that comes out, that you can tell that you've obviously faced a lot, but all those things made you fearless, because you had to like walk through the challenges and whatnot. Yes. So definitely a good reminder there.
Yeah. And was it coming, mostly from within yourself, or did you also have a support structure in place where you had people in your community or relationships where they were also encouraging you to take those risks?
Yes, even at work, like when I tell everybody my story about how I went from being an engineer to work at a restaurant, and sometimes they're shocked. They're like, "Oh, I didn't know that you were this or you could do that." And yeah, I've always been surrounded, as I said before, by people that have supported me in different ways, and I'm really appreciative of that. I think that's really important for someone who wants to succeed and who wants to do better and better in life, to have that support system and their friends and their family. And I've been lucky enough to have all these people around me that always push me to new boundaries. But to your question, to your point, yeah, it has to come from yourself. It has to come from within yourself first. Because if you don't want to experience change in your life, if you want to stay where you are, no matter how many people support you, but you're not going to get there. It has to come from yourself, from within yourself. Yeah.
Well, thank you once again for taking the time. Loved hearing your story, and yeah, I think you're going to inspire a lot of people to also take that risk, like you're talking about. So, Henger, once again, yeah, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. Thank you guys so much.
It was my pleasure.
Thanks for listening to this episode. If you'd like to learn more about Pathstream, please visit pathstream.com or follow us on social media. And if you think you might be interested in starting a Pathstream course, visit pathstream.com/programs. That's PATHSTREAM.com/programs. Until we talk to you again, happy learning.